different times, streaming directly through Twitch for all of you. So, pardons ahead if my frame rate's a little slow or anything slow. Twitch has a cool new app called the Twitch Studio. I'm using the version, and it's neat to kind of use. So I want to get into our show tonight. I have 4 different segments that we're going to do, a 4-quarter section, and then we're going to also spend some time. We have an exciting thing coming, and then my wife and I is coming on for the second half of the show. So here we go. We're going to dive in. The very first thing, big to me, I have on my South Carolina Gamecocks polo today because I wanted to take some time to talk about the big announcement in the SEC, and that is Oklahoma and Texas have said they do not want to renew their media contracts, and they're going to come out in, it will look like 2025, and go and join the SEC. Anyone who's a college football fan knows this is huge. This is a really big deal. This is a really huge move. This will, in my opinion, change the landscape of basically they're going to the Big 12 conference and move over to the Southeastern Conference. How that looks, there's been kind of talks of the SEC having little pods, little groups of people where there'll be 4 teams in a group and you play each other. So in a way, if they geographically group it the way that I think it should be grouped, that pod could be Texas, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and then I think Missouri. I've never been a big fan of Mizzou being in the SEC East. I know when them and Texas A&M joined, it might have made a little more sense to put Missouri in the East, Texas A&M in the West, based on who they were going to play. But I think it'd be cool to group those together, and then that would be really be a Big 12 revival. They would all kind of come back together as a Big 12 revival. So, huge difference to see. I think also that could create some great conference games. We're going to see the return every year of Texas A&M and Texas. You're going to see other games like Oklahoma will get shots at people like LSU and Alabama more often, where Oklahoma had to wait later on in date to take on those teams. Outside of those, between that, you'll get to see some other games. I mean, we're going to see, we always talk about, and if there's SEC fans, they like to say the phrase, well, the SEC could be such and such's bad team. That, take a good example, my own personal South Carolina Gamecocks beat the Michigan Wolverines game in what was, of course, last good season, I use that term loosely, but a good season of Will Muschamp. So if you had that showing, hey, yes, Michigan's kind of good, South Carolina was able to stand up and make something better and win. Well, how is that going to fare up when you're going to have teams like South Carolina, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas have to face Oklahoma and Texas? And I would like to say out there, the other thing to note is, while Texas hasn't been good at football in a long time, they have been noted to be a good multi-sport school. So it's a great addition for the conference to have a school bring in multiple sports. The SEC, of course, is noted very highly for its college football and for its skills there, but it's not very, and it gets its baseball hype, but think about, they can do impacts on baseball. Really, they have some women's sports they do well in. It'll be good to see that. Oklahoma, of course, has great programs all around. University, great funding, great well-known brand. So to see them come in, especially on the football side, especially with, I believe they will still have Lincoln Riley still doing magic with that program. See how they've been consistent will be huge. But of course, where does this leave the rest of the world? What does it do for the rest of them? You're going to have some programs. Does the Big 12, which we've not seen come out yet, does the Big 12 resurrect itself? And does it go out there? Does it pull some other teams in the nation? You're going to have their top hitters now are going to be things like Texas Tech, TCU, which had that Rose Bowl one with Andy Dalton a little bit a while ago. And then you're going to have Baylor, which can be up and down, and West Virginia, which can also be up and down. So do you have that conference try to carry itself? Do they expand? Do they become bigger, or does it go away altogether? We have a viewer out. I want to say thank you for coming. Please drop some stuff in the comment. Love to see how you feel about Georgia seeing Texas and Oklahoma on their schedule. But there's so much else to think about. What does it do for the other landscape of conferences? Of course, when the Big Ten grew conferences and they added in Maryland, they added in Nebraska, a lot of people were saying this for TV revenue because neither of those two teams have been very high contributors. It'll be very, very interesting to see what does a conference do and take two big, well-known, some of the biggest well-known programs in the country. At least if I were to do a quick list, they would be on my top 10, if not top 15, of programs that are south of the Mason-Dixon line. But now, Venero Stevens here, he says, more easy wins to boost Georgia's overhyped ego. I'm assuming you're insinuating that would mean that Georgia's going to beat Texas until those wins. I don't see Georgia doing very well against Oklahoma when they have them on the regular. But what are conferences going to do to rebound? Does the Big Ten go out and get different teams? Does one conference dissolve altogether? Or here's the big thing. Do group of 5 teams get promoted into other conferences to carry the weight? So does the Big 12, for example, pulling it out there, go out and pick up a UCF? Maybe even they expand to some of the other known. So do they get Coastal Carolina, UCF, personally as an example, give Georgia Southern and App State just to expand their region and to be a bigger, or does the Big Ten go out and get a team? The other ones to think about is now the strength of schedule is the deal, and this is going to become a big factor. How do 2 programs right now that have been doing recently well, excuse me, rebound with this conference alignment because of their schedule? The programs I'm thinking about are Notre Dame and Clemson. Dabo Swinney and his staff have done an amazing job at Clemson, South Carolina to create a fantastic program that does very, very well. And Steve and I agree it's going to be nuts to see, but is Clemson going to stick it out in the ACC? Florida State is not the Florida State we all know from a long time ago, and I don't think they're going to be there for, let's say, at least 3 years. Mac Brown is doing a very good job at North Carolina building that program, but there aren't going to be a lot of hard games on the schedule. Miami can be up or down. We really want them to be good. They're not as good as we want them to be. So does Clemson leave? I don't think they go into the ACC. Do they go join another conference, or do they go join another area? Same thing with, what does the Big Ten do to respond? The Big Ten's a very classic, traditional college football conference. What do? Do they extend an addition to Notre Dame? When I play NCAA Football 14, I actually add Notre Dame in. And I know if you didn't know this, they were independent a long time ago so that they could pick their schedule. It would help them have better TV games. It would help them have better spots at being broadcasted all the time, which is part of where they got their fame, is that back in the day, you used to only be able to see Notre Dame on TV. And they played on the East Coast and West Coast, with some of their big traditional games being against Army, when the Army was a really good football program, and also against the University of Southern California. So does the Notre Dame join the Big Ten? I think they should. Geographically, it makes sense. Notre Dame is in the state of Indiana. I think it could help with recruiting, and I think it would help with their resume, especially if they notch wins against programs such as Michigan State, Michigan, play a tight Ohio State game. I think that could be a coin flip. They did really well. So huge news that we have coming out there. Massive thing. I was blown away. It's all I've been talking about at work. I'm going to scroll through my notes and see what else I have on the docket, but I'm pretty sure that closes our first quarter. The other football thing I wanted to mention, as I forget what I was talking about, is if you haven't read about him, Aaron Rodgers signed concessions to where he will be released out of his contract this year in what some are calling a last dance attempt. How do we get one more run with Aaron Rodgers, who has not been happy who's been very vocal about his situation in Green Bay. But at the end of this, he can be traded. So very much Michael Jordan-esque of how the Bulls ended. I think this is a tough move for Green Bay. They must have something in Jordan Love that they believe in, or they must have some type of plan so that when they trade Rodgers, they know exactly what they want. How they're going to come out of that, we don't know. How this season is going to happen, we don't know. He's a very competitive guy. As you saw, we didn't have all the supporting cast in order for him to be able to go out there and make that playoff run. Some questions, some big calling, especially in the fourth quarter, not getting him to throw. Coach Matt LaFleur and him aren't getting along, and it's different, right? He had Mike McCarthy as his coach, and that's where he came up, and now he has a younger coach who's experimenting. It sounds like the organization's not linking up together. Where does he go? What team does he hit up afterwards? I don't think he'll stay and be a Packer. Pardon me. I don't think he'll stay and be a Packer. I hate to say that. I think he goes somewhere else. But we'll even see how he does. I'm not going to write the Packers out of the playoffs just because Aaron Rodgers is leaving. But I don't see it being the massive that he wanted to have. So that is our first quarter as we had it. Second quarter, I want to go into talking about some baseball. There's been baseball going on. We're in mid-August. Well, actually, end of July, pushing into August. And earlier this year, if you haven't listened to it, we have some good friends out there in the podcast world. Carmen and Gabe, they have the show Dude Thoughts, where it's two buddies. They get together, talk about multiple different types of things. You should go out there and check them out. Love their show. It's always fun to listen to with different topics. I know we're a sports show. They do fun things. We did a sports episode on with them, and I did my preseason rankings for everyone. And we talked about the New York Yankees, the team that always seems to have the best payroll and the cleanest pinstripes in the biggest city with the best things all together and some great hitters, and they are not. There are many teams in sports that when they're good, sports feels different. The teams that come to mind off the top of my head, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Detroit Red Wings in hockey, if you follow hockey, teams like the Green Bay Packers in football, or as of late, the New England Patriots. When you have teams that are good, the sport feels better. When you have traditional teams that everyone roots for, sport grows, and the sport feels good. Sorry. But with the Yankees, it seems like the mighty have really stubbed their toe. Now, the big thing is they have had some COVID outbreaks in their camp and have been struggling. Well, and COVID is still a very serious illness going on in our country. But the tough part is that if you didn't know, Major League Baseball protocol, if you test positive for COVID-19, you're put on the 10-day DL list for your team. And then you have to test negative twice in order for you to come back. They're also enforcing vaccinations in Major League Baseball. The trick is that the Yankees have an 85% vaccination rate, yet they are catching a lot of COVID cases. So what has happened, and how has that led to life on the field? Well, right now the Yankees sit at 51-47, and they're third place in their division, and they're 9 games back from the Red Sox, and they're 1 game back from the Rays. Where that makes a tricky situation, though, is that they are not able to really get themselves dug out of a hole. They'll win, get past 500, and then slump. And then win, and then slump. And in their schedule coming up in August, they have the Rays and the Chicago White Sox, who've been doing very well, and the Red Sox again. So their schedule is not going to get any easier. They are near the bottom in runs in all of Major League Baseball. So, and you can put that to COVID has impacted. One of the people that has had COVID inbound has been Aaron Judge, who is one of their younger hitters. But for a team that spends a lot and dumps a lot into their franchise and dumps a lot into the money they're going to put in, there's not a lot of room out there for the New York Yankees to do and to make some improvements. It's not a matter of pitching, but it's just they seem to can't get the runs batted in. And I'm going to pull up some more stats as we take a look at them. So I'm personally concerned for the Yankees. I'm personally disappointed. You can't help. COVID's still something that has to be very serious, but I don't think you can put it all on there. I also know that in their division, they're going to have a tough time bouncing back, as the Rays and Red Sox have both climbed over 60 wins, and in the last 10, the Rays and Red Sox were 7 for 3, while New York is 5 for 5. So when you have that 5 for 5, which is tied with Toronto, which we also think is slumping, you don't really have a shot in sort of catching up. In the wild card race in the American League, they are in 4th place, and they are behind Seattle, which that's good to see. Mariners doing something, especially with the trade deadline really close. The Oakland A's, and then also you have Tampa Bay Rays, which are 4.5 games up. So they have to do some work, and I don't know if it's too far away. Their schedule isn't doing them any favors. They're not in a very easy division. Their division is not the Padres and Giants, but not in the division that's going to give them any type of leeway. I'm going to try to pull their schedule and just look at it. So this way we can look at the rest. So as they came out of this series where they played the Red Sox, they only won 1 out of 4. This last series with the Red Sox, they lost 5-4, they lost 6-2, they won 4-3, and they lost 5-4. Too many one-run loss games really are going to impact the overall performance of your team through the time. Even when they play teams like the Phillies, they still split their series. So they have not had a full sweep through the month of July. Not even when they played the Mariners, which the Mariners that you think of. So definitely big struggles for the Yankees. Definitely tough to see where they're going to go. You have to see. You have to see what they're going to do now. They did get Kyle, and I hate saying names, Higashioka and Aaron Judge are off the COVID list, and their place, and they will be back, but they just lost Yondres Gomez to the COVID-19 list. Marley Rivera, an ESPN writer, reports an hour ago. So as it goes, we'll see if Aaron Judge can come back in. Can he make some impacts? But they need the bats to light up. They need the hits to come in. Their pitching is an okay place for them to be able to come out and make an impact, but their bats are not where they need them. So kudos, at least in my opinion, for the MLB to be taking COVID-19 and the right precautions and taking care of them. However, we'll see how the Yankees sort of end up. I was disappointed to see that the Yankees aren't doing as well. Of course, they were my preseason favorite for the American League. My preseason favorite for the National League was the Atlanta Braves. That's not going very well at all. The only good thing I can see with the Atlanta Braves was my hometown Augusta Green Jackets, which is the Braves farm team with a really cool stadium if you decide that you want to come up and visit the Augusta area. But that's a struggle for them. So that concludes our first half, as we've got a lot of football going on. Our team of the week has been the New York Yankees. We'll see how they'll go. Connor and I continue to bounce through all of Major League Baseball. But now it is time for us to take a break and go to our very favorite segment. And to do that, we're going to introduce my second half host. Come on in, Anna Marie.
And second half.
We're going to share headphones like we're in high school. How are you?
Hello.
How about that ride-in?
It was great.
That's why they call it Friends Stream Sports.
Okay.
Steven's on. Say hi to Steven.
Hey.
Steven and Anna Marie have turned the show into a Zoom call. So this is now. Surprise. Now, not just because Connor's not here, but actually today is a very big moment for Friends Stream Sports. Anna Marie, halftime hot takes, but halftime hot takes has changed because it's now sponsored. Who's the new sponsor of halftime hot takes?
It's Daddle's Coffee. Woo! So Daddle Coffee is amazing because it is actually um, homemade,
It's hand roasted.
hand roasted. It's real. It's real. It actually is organic and fair trade coffee. I'm trying to open up, and it comes in bags and it comes in K cups. I'm gonna show you one. These little K cups. So yeah, so when you buy this, it's actually for a good cause. You're not just buying amazing coffee, but you are buying coffee that goes to support puppies um, and the prevention to fight heart disease and paralysis.
Yeah, so Daddle's Coffee is from Winter Park, Florida, where Connor and I first started Friendstream Sports. Good friend of ours. They do a great cause for the paws. And because of how much they like us and how much we like you, we actually have a discount code for all of you. If you use the promo code FSS, that's short for Friendstream Sports, you're going to get 15% off your order. I live in South Carolina, and so does Anna Marie, and we were able to get our Daddle's Coffee shipped to us all the way up here. So they come in these really cool
What
bags.
if I told you I didn't live in South Carolina?
Then the show is a lie. But either way, we were able to have these bags shipped all the way up here. Great coffee company. Comes in a purple bag. Looks really cool. Go to daddlescoffee.com and use promo code FSS with a great cause for those adorable paws.
We love it.
We love it.
And it's great coffee too. We love the Peruvian.
The
blend.
Peruvian.
The Peruvian blend is our favorite. But there's 4 other flavors I think or 4 other blends you can choose. So it's got a little something for everybody.
Awesome. So now we're gonna get into halftime hot takes.
Nope,
which no, that's just the start of it.
Oh.
Now we still talk about stuff. It's not just a commercial.
I thought it was hot takes because we're hot coffee.
I mean, it is hot takes because of hot coffee. So Anna Marie, I'm gonna let you include it in halftime hot takes. So this year in Major League Baseball, there's the AL East, which has the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Tampa Bay Rays, the New York Yankees, and the Baltimore Orioles in it.
Okay.
Which team do you think will win? The Red Sox are leading it.
Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays. Anna Marie has the 4th place Blue Jays doing some really good work on the trade deadline, making a resurgence, probably getting some good pitching, and then turning around.
You don't even care why I picked them.
Well, I'm just trying to justify your pick. Why did you pick them?
Because there was a blue jay outside our window this morning.
Meanwhile, Friendstream Sports is sponsored by Daddle's Coffee.
Yay, Daddle's Coffee!
Okay. That's Anna Marie's sports take. I'm going to go with my pick for who wins. I'm going to say the Red Sox continue to run away with it.
No surprise, number 1 team.
They're doing really well.
Oh.
Do you not know?
I want to go for the underdog that will support Daddle's Coffee.
That was good. The underdog. Okay.
Heart disease and paralysis.
All right, Anna Marie.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're here, and last time you were on the show, we talked about snacks at sports. Because if you don't know out there, Anna Marie watches.
I get drugged to games. Or it's just on.
She gets taken to games, not drugged as in like bad things happen to her at games. But Anna Marie watches sports because I watch sports, and because she spends time with me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means watching sports. But there actually is a big sporting event that I know that you kind of follow a little bit, and that's the Olympics.
Mm-hmm. The Olympics.
Wanted to talk about the Olympics today,
and
there were some big storylines in the Olympics, and I want to bring up what I think is an interesting one, and then we'll talk about the big one that sort of won the day for all the news.
Okay.
And the one that really is worth talking about is Emma McKinnon. Did you see what happened in her 100-meter heat?
She was the swimmer.
She was a swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what happened?
Yep. She won. She won. Photo finish. She won, but she didn't touch the little wall hard enough.
So for all of you that didn't get to see it,
she didn't win.
Emma McKinnon
But she won.
Dominating against her Chinese opponent, her opponent from China.
Oh, like a few seconds.
That's a lot in swimming.
Like a millisecond. She like a millisecond.
Because she reached out and didn't push the wall hard enough to activate the sensor, therefore, it was not seen that she finished as far ahead and her time was not saved. Now, I did read Emma Kim's reaction. She is actually pretty happy about this because this means she wasn't going as fast as she was going and she was concerned about her opponent.
Mm.
So I think, do you find this that it's just she had a whoops moment like we all do in life, like when you accidentally, drop something on the floor, or when you are, when you run and you trip down the stairs a little bit in the morning? Is it one of those moments where something happened, or is it like, is this something that's a problem with the Olympic Committee in Japan?
What, that she didn't touch it
hard enough?
Okay, so I think like it's like a race, like a
It is a race.
it is a race. It's like a race, like a horse race. Like there's a finish line, and like you have to get to the finish line. So the wall is the finish line, and if it's too close to call it, they always judge it by a picture. And like in sports today, like there's always they review the play. So like, and then like in football, if it's over the line, I know sports.
She knows sports.
If it's over the line, like they get to go for first downs or whatever, or like there's always replays and there's always calls and stuff like that. So like I feel like she got robbed a little bit because like clearly from the photo, she made it. She was there, but she just didn't have enough boom.
Well, she's gonna boom the wall next time, so she'll probably win again.
So I think she got robbed. What do you think?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, of course, she should have touched it. If it is to be, it's up to me. You should have pressed a little harder. She's coming back. She won't make that mistake again. But, are these machines too sensitive, or is it just on her? If this would have happened more often in the Olympics, I think this could have been on the Olympic Committee in Japan, the host city, the host country. But, either way, didn't make a bad issue. She still won. They called it a dead race. But the photo, for those of you that don't know, she's touching the wall, and her opponent is like mid-stroke. So it keeps it to where it's far enough apart.
Next topic of the Olympics.
Go on.
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles. What happened to Simone Biles?
She, she is amazing. She is probably one of the best gymnasts of all time. She is like the Michael Jordan of gymnastics. She is just the GOAT of gymnastics. The goat-nastics.
She's goat-nastics.
Goat-nastics. She's fantastic goat-nastic. So she basically got very stressed, I guess is the best way to put it, and took a break from the finals and stepped away from the finals and decided that she was going to step away for her mental health because she did, I think, the vault or the beam or something like that, and she was like shaky and stuff, and that kind of threw her off. But like other things were throwing her off, and so she just decided to let the other girls take it for the finals, and she did not compete in the finals.
Now,
so that's a big deal because think of the one, good for her because mental health is the most important thing. Two, though, think about how that all the other teammates felt because like she's like the best, like she's the best.
No, she was there. She was standing out there in like a sweatsuit watching them and cheering them on.
Supportive. She was very, very supportive.
The team won a silver medal. There was I think a split beam routine that just they couldn't keep up with that the gold medal winners got. This is not the first time this year that an athlete has stepped away from performance. Actually, a female athlete has stepped away from a competition due to mental health. There was, and her name escapes me, but during one of the major tennis tournaments, one of the players, she stepped away because of her mental health, because of the pressure. So, as mental health is something that is growing right now, Anna Marie, do you believe that it's okay for athletes, where it's their job to sort of perform and in a way entertain us and compete, do you think it is okay for them to step off for their mental health, or do you think that they should have to sort of push through it?
I don't know. That's really hard because
this is Friends from Sports.
You're making it into sound like the Hunger Games, as if like we're making them compete.
Mm-hmm.
I think they choose to compete. I don't think we're making them compete.
I think that when you are younger, getting into sports is a choice. As you become famous,
Are they getting paid though? Or do they get paid,
I
Olympic
think
athletes?
Olympic athletes get paid. I mean, it's not like the more money they make is from the
I know
sponsorships and everything when
and
they
stuff,
get back.
but they're not getting paid to compete.
We're like, well, you get a lot of good things for competing. Of course,
Sure.
you get free housing, you get to stay. The Olympic Village is really cool. You get to represent your country. I'm sure you get a bunch of gifts.
I don't really know how to feel. I genuinely, I usually have an opinion about stuff, but I don't really know how to feel about.
She does usually have an opinion about stuff.
I don't really know how to answer this. Like, obviously, I think mental health is 100% important for people. So if you take this as, so we're going to pontificate through this, okay? So if we are thinking of these athletes as that's their job, me, take mental health days, and other people in the world who have jobs take mental health days. So I think that if this is her job and this is what she does and needs to take a mental health day, I think that that's perfectly acceptable.
I like what you said, and I agree. And I think where it comes into is that athletes for us get put on sort of a pedestal that they are larger than life people.
Mm-hmm.
To say that if you were to see, we'll give an example, Chipper Jones walk by, and if Chipper Jones is competing in a national level and then say, I'm going to stop because I'm personally not well enough to do this in my mind, it would be like a bigger impact. Like, oh, if only Chipper Jones was playing. I think where it comes different is nowadays, especially in our social media driven generation, we scrutinize almost every small little thing of an athlete to where
It's almost like we hold them to like a God
mm-hmm.
standard, and it's like you have no room to mess up. You have no room to like take time off unless you're like physically ill.
Exactly.
Like, oh, he broke his leg, but he'll be back in a month. Like, that's not normal.
No, it's not normal to break
That's
your
not
leg and be back.
normal.
I broke my elbow and I couldn't properly use my arm for like what?
3 months
3 months. It took me 3 weeks to be able to put on my own pants.
No, it did not.
It took a while.
It took a while for you to get out of the sling.
And put on my own pants. She had to help me.
Okay.
But
Back
either way,
to
but as it goes, I think it's a big thing to sort of think about. In the NBA, we got a taste of it with Kyrie Irving was in and out. Now they tried to have other things. He was out. He was clubbing. He was doing stuff. But maybe it was just his mental health wasn't right. I think mental health should be a little bit more accepted in the world than what it is. I shouldn't have tough it up. But look at, I can't remember her name. I think it was it Ambi Wambach? Remember from the 2012 Olympics? She was a gymnast who finished and got a silver medal on something and had all the world on her shoulders. And when she got her medal, she just had like a scrunched side mouth face.
Oh, that girl. Yeah.
She has a TV commercial now.
Yeah,
and her TV commercial now, she does the scrunched side face.
I remember that now.
Well, that is such a microorganism thing that happened basically 10 years ago, and we still remember it, and it makes an impact on it.
Mm-hmm.
So athletes are held on a different standard. We can talk about Olympics a little bit more, but I kind of want to end on, if you were to move the Olympics and put them in different cities, what city would you put each games?
Each games?
So like, where would you put the summer one, and where would you put the winter one?
Oh, okay. The winter one, probably Denver, Colorado. Fun fact, I did a little research. Fun fact, Denver, Colorado actually won the bid for the Olympics in 1976. And the people of Denver, Colorado, Denverians, whatever people of Denver.
The people that Ted Bundy didn't get to.
The Denver people of the 1976 were like, no, we don't want the Olympics. Absolutely not. Like, we don't want that in our town.
That is such a Colorado thing to do.
Like, that literally happened. So then all the Olympics committee went back to all these people and were like, hey, like, of all the people that bid on it that year, they're like, hey, will you take it? And they were like, no. Like, they were like sore. And then so then they went to another people who did it like 2 years ago or like 4 years ago. like, will y'all do it? And they were like, no. And like no one would host the 1976 Olympics.
So did they have it?
Yes, they had it eventually. I don't know who actually did it. It was a European country, I think. But
Some bunch of losers.
so yeah,
Here's
so
America's
Denver,
scraps.
Colorado, you messed up, but I think that you should redeem yourself because you got a lot of good resources to offer, and winters are, I'm sure, beautiful. So,
What would be funny is
hmm.
if the United Kingdom, if the United States rejected the Olympics and the United Kingdom hosted it to get our second place prize.
Oh, okay, sure. Um, and then for summer, I think so. Another fun fact: Africa, the continent, has never hosted an Olympic event or
Where,
an Olympic game.
where would you have it?
Probably South Africa.
Johannesburg?
Johannesburg.
Johannesburg.
I know that at one point, uh, Cape Coral in South Africa, they bid on it, but they lost the bid. So yeah, but I think Johannesburg, they've got a major airport. They've got a lot of great elevation. They've got and plus, like, think of how many Kenyans and people from African countries win and compete in all like the track and field events, like
Mm-hmm.
Usain Bolt and all that. So
Usain Bolt's Jamaican.
I'm so sorry.
Wow.
I don't know.
You should
But there's.
apologize.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Usain Bolt. I did not know what country you're from. So yeah.
I
So
did.
good. That's why
He's
you're
a
the sports.
very fast Jamaican.
That's why you're
not
sports.
from Africa.
Well, Jamaica can't host it because it's too small. They would
But
not be able
Steven
to host
dropping it in the comments, summer
Let me
games
see.
across the Caribbean islands would be kind of cool. I think that would be kind of
Across
cool.
the Caribbean islands?
Especially to see like a biathlon or a triathlon where you'd have to like, they're too far apart and the ocean is too intense for you to, swim from one to the other. But I think it'd be neat to kind of see.
I just don't think you have this.
I think there's a
realistic
football
space.
stadium in Nassau. I think there is. Because there's a college football bowl game that's played out there.
No idea.
Steven,
anyway.
you're on. You're always in your producer roles. Find out if there's a football stadium in Nassau and drop it in the comments. Help me out here while we do this. Do you have our pieces of paper for our next segment?
No.
Can you go get them?
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to do my Olympic count.
Okay.
We're super live and super live. We forget our resources. Something else I kind of want to add in my Olympic towns is the two that I would pick. So I would actually put summer games in Miami, Florida. And if you're not familiar with Miami, it is a very international city. It is built, they have a lot of professional venues there because they have a hockey team, they have a soccer team, they have a basketball team, they have a football team. So they have a lot of resources. They would have to do some work on traffic because Miami traffic is always bad. But it would be pretty neat to have a Miami one. Plus the weather in the summertime would be great. It'd be very interesting to watch the Olympic Committee battle around the summer hurricane season storms that come through. So I said Miami, I think. It'd be really cool. Steven says, and he always crushes at this, Thomas Robinson Stadium is a multi-purpose stadium in Nassau, Bahamas. The stadium currently has a capacity of 15,000 people, but has the ability to expand to hold 23,000. So you could straight up have a Caribbean Olympics. My winter games, I would actually take over and I would go to Sweden. So I did some research on this. So there is Stockholm, Sweden, which is in the southern part of Sweden, is a big city where hockey and soccer are very popular sports. It would be a great athletic area where it means they'd already have some venues built in. To get some winters, there's a town called Ure, which is spelled like R, A-R-E, but it has an accent over the A. Ure is in northern Sweden. It is a skiing and mountain town. So that's where you would have all of your other mountain games. You could have your hockey and your figure skating down in Stockholm. You would go to Ure up at the top, and that's where they would have all their skiing. It reminds me of the Vancouver Olympics, to where, of course, they had the city of Vancouver, but they had a mountain range right outside the city of Vancouver, to where that's where they did some other events. So I think it'd be cool to have it in Sweden. And they're kind of considered for the 2026 games.
I know where it was.
You scared me.
I know where it was. I think it was like, remember how I said Denver messed up and didn't want to take the
Yeah.
Olympics and all of that? There was some event in like Whistler in the 70s.
In Whistler?
I'm pretty
That's
sure.
in Canada.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Steven, part 2. Where was the 1976 Winter Olympics? Google it and drop it in the comments. No Googling for you. This is Steven's job.
I'm sorry.
He is our viewer. He is out here to support us and also be a part of our show.
We love
Okay. So,
Sponsored by Daddle's Coffee.
sponsored by Daddle's Coffee. Code FSS, short for Friends Stream Sports.
For 15% off.
For 15% off your first order. Comes in a purple bag and makes you happy. If we didn't have to go to bed, stay up. Austria was home. That is nowhere near Worcester. Thank you, Steven. Killing it today. Steven the Steady. Okay, so now we're going to go into our fourth quarter and we're going to talk about a different aspect of sports. So Anna Marie, you watch some sports games, and I've seen you perk up whenever there's some certain music that'll come on. It kind of gets you out there. So we compiled a list of, we're going to debate back and forth some different music that we like to hear during sporting events. And the first thing is, and this is where we're most commonly watching sports, that's sitting at home with some blankets, watching some football. So,
well, you are.
I'm watching it. You're in the room.
I'm just in the room.
So which song do you says football is on? You have two choices. There is either the Fox Sports song, which they kind of use for all their sports, but whenever you hear it for a football game, the sort of trumpet horn fanfare, or there is the Monday Night Football song. Which one gets you ready? And I don't mean the Hank Williams Jr. song.
No. There's the Fox Sports song. What Monday Night Football song?
Ba 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 ba. Dun 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 dun.
Oh,
I can't sing them because we can't pay for these.
Okay, well, just like 2 seconds, and YouTube won't. YouTube won't.
It will. It will.
All right, so the Fox Sports the
It's too much.
It's too much. We can't pay for that.
Which one?
Fox Sports.
No, Monday Night Football on ESPN.
Fox Sports. Because I'm telling you, Sunday afternoon, you got some Fox Sports going on. Saturday afternoon, too.
No, stop it. Okay. So we're split there. Next one we have, which song says is more
Steven
like, Steven said Monday Night Football. Which song says more out there of a like, okay, this is fun intro? Because there some football broadcasts have like a little pre-movie intro, which is exciting. Sometimes it's better than the game. That is, we have two choices. Are You Ready for Some Football, which is by Hank Williams Jr., which was always on Monday Night Football, especially in the 90s, or the NFL Sunday Night Football song by Carrie Underwood, which I don't know the official title, so I just call it Carrie Underwood's Too Long Football Song. Which one are you more like, yeah, football's on?
Oh, are you ready for some football?
Please stop singing.
Only because he does his head. That's the only reason.
If you're out there and you're listening to this, go stop the show, pause, come back. We'll wait. But go watch except for you, Steven. Steven, you stay in the comments. Go out there and watch the music video that they used to play in the 90s for the intro with Hank Williams Jr. and people setting up like big portable TVs and readjusting the ears and everything. Go watch that. It will blow your mind about how far we've come.
It went all the way to like the early 2000s too.
Yeah.
Like, it was like an era.
It was just an era. There's a lot of guys in sweatpants. Like every guy's in sweatpants. It's supposed to be Monday. You got home from work. They're in sweatpants. And nowadays, dudes have fades and they're in shape. These are like guys with tight-fitting sweatpants. You know how hard it is to have tight-fitting sweatpants? You have to earn those. So, are you ready for some football? Hank Williams Jr. Mm-hmm. All right. Next, this is not the national anthem. We very much like the Stars and Stripes.
We love the national anthem. But there's always a song before the national anthem.
Which would you prefer to hear? God Bless America or America the Beautiful?
Probably God Bless America.
I agree.
I think it's more fanfaric.
I think it's just straight to the point. The first few words, you know what we're doing. We're God and we're blessing America.
And usually there's like, there's some sort of like, I don't know.
The word you're looking for is reverence.
Reverence. That's the word.
Come for the show. Stay
You're
for
the music major.
Daddle's coffee, but not for
Listen, this is your show. You're the music guy. You're the sports guy.
So what you're saying is if I didn't have you, I would just have, well, I'd have Steven.
You'd have Steven.
Hey, Steven. Okay. All right, so next we're going to go, and we have two categories because these two ones are similar. These are like rally songs. You're in the stadium, and the person with the CD player plays these songs, and they get you excited. So the first two to pick from, you pick one, that is either Sandstorm or hearing Jump Around at the stadium, which makes you want to jump up and down more.
Which one is better?
Yeah.
Probably Jump Around.
I like Sandstorm. I think that's a good one, but Jump Around's always a classic. I think Sandstorm, your school has to be tied to it. Next is these ones make you want to like participate along with the event. So do you have either Seven Nation Army, which we would hear at Orlando City games, we would bang on the steps, or do you like We Will Rock You by Queen, which makes you want to like more stomp and get into it?
Probably We Will Rock You, because I feel like even that slowed down. It's in every stadium. At least that.
The stomp and the
clap. The stomp clap is in. Doesn't matter what sport you're at. Doesn't matter. It does not matter. It is in the stadium.
That's true. It's huge. I like that Seven Nation Army. You look fine.
No,
he did. Thanks, Steven.
That's his rally song.
I like that Seven Nation Army is really resurging. Of course, I guess that was just me in my childhood. But it's cool to see everyone like stomp along to it in the stadium and get after it. All right. So next we have, this one's going to be tough. You have to only pick one.
Okay.
You're at a baseball game.
Category?
You're at a baseball game.
Okay.
And you had to pick one of these songs that you hear at a baseball game. The first one is Sweet Caroline or Take Me Out to the Ball Game. You pick one.
Sweet Caroline has my heart, but if I'm at a baseball game, I guess I have to hear Take Me Out to the Ball Game, or else I did not go to a baseball game. But Sweet Caroline is nearest and dearest to my heart. I'm not singing it.
This one, when we wrote it in a late night pre-show last night.
Sweet Caroline, this is easy.
I'm torn here. Take Me Out to the Ball Game is a really fun one. I like whenever you throw in your own team names. Stop singing these songs.
I'm reading.
You could just write ba ba ba. No. But I'm gonna have to say I'd have to hear "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" because okay, but at a Yankees game they don't play Sweet Caroline. They're not gonna play it. It's a Red Sox thing. So, they don't have that. All right, we're gonna break in here. If you had one walk-up song, what would it be?
If I had a walk-up song. It's a J-Lo song. Hold on. It was J-Lo.
Like Jenny from the Block?
No. Not. It was like.
Yellow, then you had a lot.
No, it's a Jennifer Lopez.
You know, she had pictures of her come out making out with Ben Affleck at 52, and she looks great. Have you seen those?
No, I have not seen this.
Okay. Well, answer what your song is first.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's a Jennifer Lopez song. Let's Get Loud. Let's get loud.
What?
Let's get loud.
For you just walking up to the plate.
Yes!
What if you're 0-4 for the day? Like you haven't hit it all, and you're just going to play Let's Get Loud every time?
Yes, because at least it makes you want to move, and it's happy.
Makes me want to move to the exit.
Let's get loud.
Mine would be a recent song. It's called The Man. It's by The Killers. It's a very good song. But mine would be. Or it would be Twist and Shout by the Beatles.
That's what they play in between innings of a baseball game.
Well, it could be fun. All right. But moving on, as we go on, we're going to keep doing this. We have a couple left. All right, so now we're going to pick, as we've had some fun ones, What
Oh,
isn't?
you're going down by Sick Puppies. It's going to be Steven's walk-up song.
Okay, that's nice.
Speaking of sick puppies, Daddle's Coffee helps to promote
Helps save
helps
dogs.
save dogs who are also sick because of heart disease and paralysis. And if you use the code FSS, you get 15% off your first order of Daddle's Coffee. And it comes in K-Cups in 4 different roasts.
That was really good. I think we've talked about them so much we've lost this sponsor. So enjoy the coffee that you have, Anna Marie. This is all we've got. Lastly, this last category is I want to talk about some overplayed sports songs. So these are 4 songs, and I want you to pick one that is your most like, don't turn this on in the stadium.
Okay. Don't turn this on.
Like
okay.
you hear come on, and you're like, ugh, why?
Okay.
The first one is Song 2 by Blur, which is the song that they just yell woohoo really loud with a bunch of guitar. Yeah, it's that. The second one is the I Like to Move It song, which was also in Madagascar. The next one in here, and this was your suggestion, not mine, is Cotton Eye Joe. And then the other one is Eye of the Tiger. So which one of these, if you could never hear it at a sporting event again, would you turn off?
Eye of the Tiger.
Wow.
I'm over it. It's overplayed. Boom, 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 boom.
I mean, I can agree with that. It is everywhere, especially if you start to hate Eye of the Tiger.
Like trivia night, they'll play Eye of the Tiger.
Especially if you're in middle school band, you play Eye of the Tiger. I'm gonna go, if I could never hear it again, I'm actually gonna go Song 2 by Blur. I like that song, but at sporting events, no one woos or hoos.
No one woos to the hoos.
It sounds like a lot of exhausted woo-hoos. Just like, it's just, everyone's off put by it. Turn it off.
It's just white noise at this point.
Okay.
Steven says Cotton Eye Joe. Wait. He'll take Cotton Eye Joe over I Like to Move It any day.
Don't sleep on Cotton Eye Joe until you go to a hockey game. You hear Cotton Eye Joe at a hockey game, it feels like a different place. It really does.
So yeah, for me, Eye of the Tiger.
All right.
Could never hear that song again.
2 categories left in this. Okay, so now we have, well, we'll do this one. If you had a music genre, do you prefer to hear like classic rock and same songs over and over again? Or would you prefer to hear like hip hop jams and all that like the NBA does?
I'm going to do a whole different genre than what you gave me.
What?
Jock jams from the 90s.
Oh.
Jock jams from the 90s. All day long. All day long. Like, don't tell me it takes you back to gym class. Jock jams.
Okay.
Pump the jam. Pump it up.
I went on a road trip with someone and they brought Jock Jams in their CD player and we listened to it the entire road trip.
I bet it was a good time.
I was like, this is what we're listening to. And they're like, do we have to? We did. You brought it, so throw it in there.
Okay, so what's your genre?
To me, it depends on the sporting event that I'm at, but I really like to hear more recent music. So I'd probably go the hip hop route with mine. But especially you hear that at like soccer games, you remember going to Orlando City games, they have that. Football games, you hear more like classic stuff all the time. All right, last thing, your victory song. So we won the game, we're excited, going out. You know, what song do you want to hear walking out of the stadium? Is it All I Do Is Win or We Are the Champions?
Both are good. Both are good. But I think I'm going to go with We Are the Champions. It's such an emotional song.
What if it's a blowout win? That's like 62-3.
Well, then you tell me, what would you go for?
I would do All I Do Is Win, because that song, whenever you like dominate in a game, that's like, all right, that's awesome, we won, and then your hands go up.
And then they stay there.
And they're stuck, and I don't know how you drive home because they stayed there.
You wait for them to say down. Down.
They turn the song off, you're walking out, and you're just walking out like this, like, can we turn this song back on, please?
Just stay there.
We're the Champions is good if you like win a championship or if you beat a rival. But if we were to go to a Green Jackets game and just watch them beat the Myrtle Beach Pelicans just randomly on a Thursday, would you want to walk out to We Are the Champions?
Yeah, it's Queen. after I go.
Too much. Too expensive.
Too much.
Too expensive.
This is superb audio that we have.
Too
YouTube
much.
will pick up on it.
Too much.
Okay, my beautiful singing skills, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right, so
That's it. That's all of our music talk. Thanks for coming out, Anna Marie.
you're welcome.
We have for this week. So I will help you get our play our pick segment. Surprise! You didn't know you were going to be doing this.
Surprise segment for me.
So the right now the New York Yankees are winning 1-0 in the bottom of the fifth against the Rays, and they play the Rays 3 games this weekend. How many games do you see the Yankees beating the Rays?
All of them.
All 3?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to say the Yankees actually go 1 for 3 and they lose 2 to the Rays. But of course, with Aaron Judge back, we'll see if that sort of turns around.
Okay.
Okay. And then our other pick that we have is on Wednesday. So tomorrow, Orlando City. Actually, that's not on Wednesday. Our next Orlando City game is they play on Friday. They play Atlanta. Orlando in their last games has lost. They won. They've drawn and have 2 losses. Atlanta has not won in their last 5 games. This is a big rivalry game in Major League Soccer. Who wins, Orlando or Atlanta?
Orlando.
Vamos Orlando. I also think they're going to win.
Steven says the Yankees are going to be 2-1.
Rays steal 1. Okay.
And he says, what did he say? 5 strikes turning it around?
That's Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Oh, I don't know.
5 strikes Atlanta. And then for NASCAR, they go to
5 stars on Yelp. You know what's 5 stars on Yelp? Daddle's Coffee. 5 stars.
Promo code FSS. Dallas Coffee.
5 stars.
But either way, also NASCAR is going to Watkins Glen. That's a road course. We have pole winners. I'm going to take Chase Elliott to win the pole for this. I think he's going to start to turn around. And he's been doing better, but we'll see what happens. But as that goes, that's our show for tonight, Anna Marie. Do you have anything you want to say before we go?
No.
Well, thanks for coming.
You're welcome.
Well, for Friends Stream Sports, I'm Rutledge. Yeah, I'm Anna Marie.
I'm Anna Marie.
Okay, great exit either way. Good night, everybody. Thank you.